Sorry.
A little warm today and looking good though, but you're a little warm in the suit.
That's all right.
How was the weather here compared to Sydney? Similar?
Sydney's cold right now. Like
Well, it's the opposite.
we just got through our winter, but I haven't been home for 2.5 months. So yeah.
When do you plan on going back?
Tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, tonight.
okay.
Yeah.
Escaping from the States tonight.
Yeah, I miss home.
So you were training in Vegas after the show wrapped up? Is that what you did?
No, what happened was I flew to Colorado just to suss the area out, the altitude up there. Just get a feel how it is out there, and it was good. We spent about a week there, and then finished up here.
Did you train in any particular camp or just?
No, I just went up there with the coach, and my dad and son, and just did our own thing. It was more of just a trial, a test to see how things are going and what we'd have to take into consideration if we ever went out there to do some real training.
Any reason why you chose Colorado? Just the altitude?
Yeah, just high. And it's pretty.
It's
pretty.
Do any skiing while you're out there?
It's summer, so it's just...
Hey, but if you go high up, it's still snow. So.
No, there was no snow where I was. I've actually never skied. Something I should
It's
do.
overrated. So how's your hand feeling right now? Obviously, I watched the first episode of Tough, and you do have the brace on at the beginning. I don't know if you have it through the season, but how is your hand right now?
Yeah, so the bone's fully healed. The problem is that with any break or ligament damage or anything like that, there's a lot of tightening that goes on. It becomes really restricted in movement, and that's kind of what I'm working with right now. A lot of people don't know this, but I did ligament damage in my left hand as well. So I'm just dealing with those strength and conditioning, rehab, so that I get a full range of motion on both hands, so that I can get back into training at 100%.
So what was a more frustrating injury, though, the knee or the
That's a hard one. Probably the knee, because when I injured the knee, I had to stay off it. So you can't run, you can't swim, you can't do a lot of those sort of things. At least with my hands busted, I can't do anything upper body, but I can still run, I can still jog, I can still move by myself.
Are those injuries are they both from the fight or are they before the fight?
Both from the fight, yeah.
Punching that guy, I guess, takes some toll on.
I hit him thousands of times.
Between the two, but I think you hit him there like 2,000 times. Probably.
There was a lot of hitting involved.
So did you have surgery on both hands?
No, I had surgery on my right hand only. I got a plate put in there and some screws. But the left hand, it's called a bootleg deformity, I think. It's where the ligament down the middle splits. So I'm just trying to deal with that right now.
What did the doctor say when you can get full into training again?
So I've already started with my strength conditioning and rehab, trying to get the full range of motion and movement back in both hands. It's kind of playing it by ear right now, so I'm kind of just testing it to see where my threshold is, what I can do right now. I guess once my hands both feel great, then I get the clear. I can go talk to the doctor and talk about full training.
Any kind of time frame?
I'm looking to fight early next year. That's when I think I'll be at my best, when you can expect me at 100%. The thing is, with both hands injured, I want to not only get better to fight, I want to get better and then train at 100%. I want to increase my skill sets at 100% so that by the next time I step into the octagon, I'm better than I was before.
And when you look at Kelvin, where do you find him to be the most dangerous?
Kelvin's very well-rounded. He has good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu, and good striking. He's fought a lot of tough guys. He's fought high-caliber guys. But to be honest, I just think I'm better. I think I'm better across the board.
You guys were both welterweights. Do you feel like you've settled into middleweight better than he has? Or do you feel like you just have more success here, you're fit for it better? Or?
To be honest, I haven't really given any thought to his transition to middleweight. It doesn't really bother me, nor does it really matter. My transition into the middleweight division was great for me. It allowed me to manage my weight, worry about the cuts less, and just train and perform at a much better standard. So this is my weight division, and I've clearly proven that.
Would you recommend to some people who maybe are struggling to make a lower weight class, like, hey, maybe go up, give it a try, fill out, not worry about the cut so much, like you said?
It's hard to say, because who am I to tell people what to do with their own careers and how they're doing? There are a lot of guys out there that cut a lot of weight but still perform at the highest level. And if you can do that, good on you. If you're feeling good at that weight and like doing what you're doing, keep doing it. For me, the whole camp was about making weight, losing weight, worrying about the weigh-in. Like, I used to get so stressed out before a fight, weeks out, just because I knew how much weight I had to cut to get there. The whole process from the start of the camp to the end of the camp was just making the weight cut. I wasn't even thinking about the fight. I thought that if I got through the weight cut, the fight would take care of itself. And I think, thinking back on it, that's the wrong attitude to have. So, and a side note, I like eating. I like food. Being able to go through the camps and if there's a birthday party and we're 6 weeks out, I can say, yeah, I'll have a little slice. And that's a big thing mentally for me. So to be able to do that, you got much more out of me in the sessions, which ended up being directly related to getting much more out of me on the fight night.
Do you think there's too big of a gap between 170 and 185? Like, if there was a 175 division, would that be something that would interest you possibly?
I think it'd have to be higher than that for me.
Fair.
But definitely, I think the sport could definitely use more weight divisions so that people start juggling, start managing their own weight a little bit better, as well as fighting at weights that they're supposed to fight at. There are a lot of guys that are caught in that mid-range where the guys are too big above, but the cut's too hard to go below. And they're kind of torn in that in between. So I think this sport could definitely use more weight divisions.
Did you have a specific moment that crystallized in your head it's time to go up to middleweight? Did you have like a bad weight cut, or was there what kind of brought you around on that?
It was always something that I was going to have to deal with. I started out my professional career in MMA when I was 18. I was a lot smaller than I was still growing into my body. So it was always one of the things I thought I would have to deal with eventually. It's just trying to work out when the right time is. My last fight at welterweight was one of the few times I thought about quitting the sport. Weeks out from the fight, I was so stressed out about the weight cut that I almost called up Joe at the time and said, I can't do this, this is terrible. And I ended up getting to the fight. The weight cut, I did 7.5 kilos morning of. And that was yeah, I just I slapped on the Abilene cream, I put a sweatsuit on, I jumped in the sauna and I stayed there. And
How long were you in there?
The whole process took 4 hours. So I did that. That was terrible. So after that fight, for my own health, because my wife, she said, you can't look the way you did, because I was a mess that night. So that was the moment of truth that I either had to move up or quit the sport.
So you've gone through so much to make weight. How do you feel then when your opponent shows up and doesn't make weight?
I think it's terrible. I think it's highly unprofessional. I think once you sign the contract that you're going to make this weight, fight on this night, it's the same as if I rocked up on Monday to fight. What's the point? You're breaking the rule. That's not how it is. That's not what you signed on. So I think it's highly unprofessional for people to not make weight. I think the punishments aren't severe enough. That in saying that, I can see how hard it is to make a decision on the punishments regarding weight cutting and whatnot. But something needs to be changed. Too many people are not making weight and winning, which is cheating.
So have you considered not taking a fight then with an overweight opponent?
Definitely, I've thought about that. But the people who do make weight are also in a hard position, because they're in a position where they still need to earn money to pay the bills, to earn a wage, to do their job. But they also have the support of hundreds and thousands of people that have come to see them fight, or that are watching them on TV to watch a fight. They're fans. That's kind of why you fight. They drive the sport. And so it's when you ask a guy, are you going to take a fight if your opponent doesn't make weight? Is it really asking, does he really have a choice? when you back them into a corner like that, is there really a choice to be made? And you have to look at the whole process behind it.
What was your initial reaction when Yoel missed weight on the last fight?
The thing with me is, especially for that fight, because I knew after he missed weight the fight before, I knew that was a possibility. So me and my coaching staff, we had talked about it a lot before reaching that point. The main thing for me though was that I had a job to do, and that I had to focus on that job. Once fight week came in, I had to focus on doing my job, which was preparing for the weight cut, preparing for the fight. I made weight, and then it was about rehydrating, refueling for a fight the next day. All the other negotiations and talks and everything, that was between my manager and my coaching staff and their coaching staff and their manager. I was left out of that. Obviously, I was made aware of the decisions after the fact and what decisions needed to be made, but my sole responsibility at that time was just refueling for a fight.
So you previously already made a decision that if he does miss, you're still going to fight.
It was half and half. We had discussed it, but the thing is, I flew a long way not to fight. You know what I mean? And a lot of my fans came to see me perform, and it was a year since my last fight. I wanted to fight. I'm a fighter at the end of the day, so if you ask me if I'm going to fight or not, I'm going to fight. But that's why I kind of leave the decisions like that up to my coaching staff and management, because, like I said, I'm a fighter at the end of the day.
So what kind of penalties do you think the UFC should institute in these situations?
That's a hard question to answer.
Your personal thought.
Yeah, my personal opinion is that the punishments just need to be a bit more severe. The fighters need to realise that not making weight, and when they sign the contract and it says that there's a weight limit to be made, they have to make it. Otherwise, there's some serious consequences. It's I think it's a thought for discussion.
Romero missed weight in the Rockhold fight, got a title shot against you.
Yeah.
Darren Till missed weight in his last fight. He's getting a title shot against Woodley. Is the UFC putting champions in bad positions? Because like you said, is there really a choice?
Does everything you just said doesn't sound weird? You know what I mean? It's like it's hard to say. It's like me going down to bantamweight, not making weight, winning because I'm much bigger, and then getting a title shot. It's like it's not fair. It's not fair, because on the flip side, the guys that are making weight don't make it easy. It wasn't easy to cut weight and make weight and do the job. We still had the struggle. You still had this diet weeks out. We just were more professional at it. We just did it right. So yeah, it's a funny. It's a very funny topic, like missing weight, getting title shots. Like, I think the punishment should be more severe, but I don't know.
Do you think the morning weigh-ins is good? The UFC seems to be wanting to veer away from that.
I think the morning weigh-ins were good if you did the right things. If you took it professionally, if you made the weight. I think it was bad for the people that kind of got lax and took advantage of that and come in and didn't make weight, and so had plenty of time to recover. And because if you get a guy that's on the cusp of death because he's not making weight, doesn't make weight, and you give him 36 hours to rehydrate, he's going to be much bigger. There's a reason why he didn't make weight. So yeah, I think going back to the original weigh-ins, it sucks, but I think it's better for the sport.
Question for you. I was fortunate enough to be in Australia when you won the Ultimate Fighter. I remember way back then. So now you're coming on the other side of it. You're coaching it. How did it feel for you to walk into the gym and be on the other side now, and knowing maybe what you wanted to get from your coach back in that situation, what you're hoping to give to the guys and girls on this season? Yeah,
it was a very different experience to be on the other side of the fence. I would like to say it was much more pleasant experience.
Yeah.
But I didn't see myself so much as a coach as more of a support model, because they came into the house as fighters. You know, their skills and abilities got them to this point. I can't create fighters. I can't change them. I can't make them better fighters in 4 weeks that I was given. So all I can do is try to make them as comfortable as possible to get into that fight and perform at the best of their abilities. So that's kind of my approach on the whole thing. Obviously, in regards to the training and programs that I put in place, I use the same programs and training that I do back home. Now, that's not to say that everyone liked it, but it is what it is. You know, they all signed up to join a house with a random coach for a random amount of weeks doing training they're not used to. So it is what it is. The whole show was more or less personality balancing. And I'm not going to say it was easy. It was hard work. You know, every day at the gym for the whole day, managing personalities, balancing the different stresses that come with fights and cornering people. But it was a positive one.
Did you, prior to that, have a lot of experience training alongside women, training with women, coaching women?
I haven't had a lot of experience coaching women, but I do coach back at my gym in Sydney, Australia, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Smith Grange. I coach there and I train out of there. And, you know, I like to think I'm an alright coach.
Yeah.
No, I can definitely, I can do it. But, yeah, it was more the atmosphere and the situations we were put in where they were kind of thrown at me wholeheartedly and they were given to me. And I think the ideas that was put in their head was that like I had to manage them from noon to night, and that's not wasn't my job, nor should it be. Like I said, they have their own careers, they have done their own things to get to where they are, and this is only 4 weeks. This is a small block of your life that you have to dedicate to just focusing. It's like 4 weeks of fight week. You just have to focus, grit down, and do your job.
Did you notice a difference between the heavyweight men and the featherweight women in terms of coachability, in terms of how they responded to you? I'm just kind of curious what the dynamic, if there was a difference between the athletes.
Well, let me put it this way. I don't know what to do when my own wife cries. So, yeah, you can take from that what you will.
Were there a lot of tears?
Kelvin said in a few interviews leading into the show, Robert's been in a lot of wars. He may not be the same guy. Said that a number of times. What were your feelings on that? Did you address that at all with him on the show while you guys were both there?
Nah, I'm gonna walk up to him and be like, "What'd you say about me?" Nah, to be honest, on the show in regards to that, me and him stayed over each other's hair. It was great. We were very civil. He was very respectful to me, and I offered that straight back to him. I give him respect and give him the space to move. It wasn't fun being around opponents like the whole amount of time, especially that we're going to have to fight eventually, but it is what it is. In regards to being in a lot of wars, have I? I like to think that I'm actually one of the few guys that hasn't been in a lot of wars. I haven't been hit that much. I've had my last couple of fights, I've been looking at the opponents and the caliber I'm going up against. I think he's telling himself that to make himself feel better, because there are some bad guys out there that couldn't put me away, they couldn't touch me. And I walk through them.
Do you feel that you have to, now obviously Mark Hunt is still a big part of the fight world. Are you kind of carrying the torch now, though? We have a lot of young up-and-comers, got Bam Bam, Tyson Pedro, Megan, seems to be more people from your part of the world. But I kind of feel like now you're the guy who has to lead the charge, no?
It's not something that I think about a lot. It's not something that like I go out there and be like, I have to lead the charge for Australian MMA. That's not something that's in my head, nor is it a goal. My biggest thing comes from inside, which is I need to be a role model for not only just my kids, but for the sport itself in Australia. And in doing that, I think I just have to go out there and be myself. I have to be respectful. I have to do the right things. And I'm going out there to do what I do and to be me. And if people flock to that, or if people like that, then great. I like to think I'm a pretty good role model for the sport.
Would you do a shoey?
That is gross. No, I would not. But I have friends that would.
Yeah.
And let me just clarify this is not an Australian thing. It's not. It's not like every Aussie on a Saturday morning having a shield. Like, it's not what happened, right? I think it's just a bit of fun that some of the guys get up to?
Robert, Israel Adesanya has been he does a lot of talking, and he's mentioned that he has a vision and a dream of both of you guys fighting in New Zealand or in Australia one day for the title. What do you think about how he's done so far and all the things that he's been saying?
I think Israel's been great. I think his stand-up is legit. I think his game plans that he's been going into fights is legit. I think he's a very highly skilled athlete. If our paths cross one day, then they do.
He's saying that he wants to win this fight coming up against Brunson and then be the backup fighter for your fight with Gastelum. Would you be open to that in case someone misses weight or someone can't make the fight?
I think there's a lot of fighters with that mentality. I don't think it's just him.
Would you be open to that, to him being that guy, like in case something goes wrong with Gastelum, he comes in and he fights you?
What's a backup fighter?
They weigh in. The UFC's been doing that where like a fighter comes in case something goes wrong on fight week, someone misses weight, gets injured, they come in, they weigh in as like an alternate, and then if someone drops out of the fight, they slide in.
Does no one else see any holes in that plan?
I mean, I see a lot of holes in that plan.
Like I think there's a lot of holes to be exploited in that plan. It seems silly to me because the whole idea between fighting is that you have an opponent and that you prepare meticulously for weeks, and then all of a sudden the guy says can't fight, and the backup guy is conveniently there. Nah, dude.
Usman is doing that for the welterweight title in a couple weeks. He's the backup fighter for the Woodley Till fight. He's gonna weigh in, and if something goes wrong with one of those guys, he's gonna slide in. So you're not a big fan of this idea. You don't like the idea of a backup fighter.
I'll never be a backup fighter.
Would you fight a backup fighter though if that guy was there?
Again, you're putting me in a corner, aren't you? It's like we get to the fight night, my opponent can't make it, and then you're like, "You still gonna fight?" It's like, what am I, a pussy? No, you're kind of forcing my hand when you put me in a corner like that. I think the idea behind backup fighters is a little silly, or there should be different incentives and different things involved in it. I think it should be more thought out. I can't envision a guy getting paid to make weight. Like that's not the sport. That's not the aim of the game. I think fights need to be made and deadlines need to be made. I think athletes themselves need to be more professional about the sport. I think a lot of guys are getting lax. A lot of guys are taking advantage of different loopholes they can exploit.
Did you want? Oh, sorry.
You're the mindset like we're professional athletes. We're preparing for this guy on a certain date. That's the guy that I'm going to fight, and if I shouldn't have to fight someone else at the last second because he's there.
Look at any other sport. Do you see any other high caliber athlete rock up on game night or game day and say, you know what? Nah. It's like it's silly. Like you'll get crucified.
Sure.
And it's just, yeah. I think as if MMA athletes want to act and get paid and be respected as high caliber athletes, you need to act the part.
Did you want to fight George?
St. Pierre?
Did you? Yeah.
Yes and no. Like, I would love to fight him in a sense out of respect. I'd love that fight because when I was growing up, obviously he was the guy I was looking at. He was the guy, and to be honest, he's a guy that I've looked up to in the MMA industry. He's what I believe to be a true warrior of the art. He's been high, he's been low, and he's been high again. I think that's a true test of warrior mentality. But so out of respect for him and his abilities and his accomplishments, I would like to fight him. But in the same sense, he's a great guy. You know, I've met him a couple of times, and he's been always nice and civil to me. He's been a great role model for the sport, and so I wouldn't like to fight him in that sense because I genuinely like him. But yeah, you know, we're both martial artists. We're both athletes. It's just what happens.
So it sounds that you prefer to have a little bit of a reason to want to punch somebody in the face. In terms of your opponent, do you like having a little something to cling to of not liking your opponent?
I just don't like fighting people I like, which is kind of why I keep my distance from a lot of other fighters that I have to fight. Like I'm not friends with any other middleweights because yeah, we're gonna have to fight one day. You know, we can be friends after our careers.
It seems like Romero is staying at 185, even though he said he was going to go up. Could you ever envision a situation where you meant to fight him for a third time? People were saying after the fight immediately, like, oh, we should get a rematch. But
Yeah. Oh, it was a close fight. It was a tough fight, but that was the second time I beat him. Like, maybe I should just fight him for the rest of my career. You know?
I would really watch that.
we would probably enjoy that, but you probably
yeah,
wouldn't.
that's right.
Well, eventually, surely he'd drop off. Eventually, maybe 50.
Still coming at this.
Yeah. What was the original question?
Could you ever envision a situation where you have to fight him
Oh.
a third time?
Geez, it's the sport. We'll have to wait and see. You know, the sport's funny. The division's funny. MMA, especially the middleweight division, is ripe with opportunity. There's many a times where weirder things have happened. You know, just got to see how everyone else acts. My biggest thing right now is just focusing on Kelvin.
With you being around him for about 4 weeks throughout the shooting of the show, did you learn anything from him, like either that you didn't know, like just like his fighting style or anything, or coaching style?
Not really. Not really. Like I said, he stayed out of my hair, I stayed out of his, and let alone I didn't try to get to know him. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. And then just follow up, was there any like one of your favorite moments throughout the taping of the show without giving away any spoilers? Probably kind of hard.
Oh, geez, finishing. Wrapping up was good. It was a lot of hard work. You guys hit me with some hard questions.
Well, I have one question for you. You spoke in depth about weight cutting and how moving up is going to be remove that element of training from your life since you don't have to worry about the weight. Do you fear that since that's such a critical part of the perfect storm of being a fighter, that it will maybe lessen a little intensity you may have since you don't have that weight kind of pushing you at your back towards your goal of fight night?
Do you mean now, or do you mean if there were more weight divisions
No,
put in?
as you have moved into another weight class, do you feel like not having that concern of losing so much weight kind of lessen the intensity you have in your approach to training?
The thing is, we're fighters. We're not bodybuilders. The idea shouldn't be we're just focusing on making weight. You know, this isn't a weight challenge. We're supposed to be fighting. Our focus should be on fighting and getting into the octagon at 100% and performing at our best.